Hello, hello everyone. My name is Kajal Bhardwaj, and I'm a master's scholar at the Department of African Study. So, a little bit about the department. African Study Department was established in 1954 by the personal request of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru to strengthen the India-African relationship at that time. And this is the university diplomatic dialogue platform wherein we celebrate the Independence Day. Monthly, we celebrate the Independence Day of the particular country, and this is to strengthen the India relationship with that particular country as of sort. And today we are celebrating the Independence Day of Zimbabwe. A little bit about Zimbabwe. That Zimbabwe was formerly known as Rhodesia, and it gained its independence from the British colonial rule on April 18, 1980. And the independence was achieved through the combination of political negotiation and armed struggle that was led by various liberation movements, notably that were the Zimbabwe African National Union, that is the ZANU, and the Zimbabwe African People's Union, that is the ZAPU, which merged into the Zimbabwe African National Union Patriotic Front, that is ZANUPF. And there was the Lancaster House Agreement that was signed in December 1979 that paved the way for the independence, and it established the framework for the peaceful transition of power. Then, following the independence, the Robert Mugabe became the first prime minister of Zimbabwe, later becoming its president. And his party, that was the ZANUPF, has been a dominant party force in the country since then. Elibit with the significant controversy that and the challenges that are coming over the years. Now, moving forward, I would tell a little bit about the geography of Zimbabwe. It is situated between the Zambezi and the Limpopo rivers, and it is bordered by South Africa to the south, Botswana to the southwest, and Zambia to the northeast, and Mozambique to the east. Its capital city is Harare, which is located in the northeastern part of the country. Uh, the geography of Zimbabwe is actually characterized by very diverse landscape, including the high plateaus, savannas, mountains, and river valleys. There are eastern highlands along the border of Mozambique, which have a higher elevation and a much cooler temperature, with the central plateau that is generally lower and more arid. Zimbabwe experiences tropical climate with distinct wet and dry seasons. The rainy seasons typically occur from November to March, and dry climate, usually lasts from April to October. And the eastern highlands receive more rainfall as compared to the western regions. Because of this geographical location, Zimbabwe is very rich in natural resources, including minerals such as gold, platinum, diamond, coal, and chrome. Agriculture plays a very significant role because of the fertile soil that supports crops such as maize, tobacco, cotton, and citrus fruit. One of the most significant features are the Victoria waterfalls, which is one of the most famous natural landmarks of Zimbabwe. It is located on the Zambezi River along with the border of Zambia. Victoria River is actually one of the largest and the most spectacular waterfalls in the world, which attracts many tourists from around the globe. Zimbabwe also has a very diverse wildlife, and including natural parks, which is the Hwange Natural Park, Mutabo National Park, and Mana Pools National Park. And these parks are home to a wide variety of animal species, including elephants, lions, leopard, rhinoceros, and numerous bird species ranging to thousands. So, talking about the history and the political system of Zimbabwe. So, talking about the colonial era, Zimbabwe was formerly known, as I said, Rhodesia, and it was named after the Cecil Rhodes, who was a British colonialist, and the territory was colonized by the British South African Company in the late 19th century. And the colonial rule led to the disposition of landform of indigenous African people who were subjected to discriminatory laws and policies. Moving to the liberation struggle, the struggle of independence for Zimbabwe was led by the various nationalist movements, as said earlier, including the Zimbabwe African National Union, the ZANU, and Zimbabwe African People's Union, that is the ZAPU. The liberation struggle, which included both armed resistance and diplomatic efforts, lasted for decades and decades in this particular country. And the Lancaster House Agreement that was signed in 1979 actually paved the way for the independence and established a framework for the peaceful transition. And after that, Zimbabwe gained its independence from British colonial rule in on April 18th, 1980. Robert Mugabe was the leader of the ZANU-PF and became the country's first prime minister, and later served as the president. Initially, there was the hope of reconciliation and nation building, but political repression and human rights abuse became a very prevalent fact under the Mugabe regime, which definitely paved as a challenging part for this particular party. Now, talking a little bit about the political system. So, Zimbabwe's political system is characterized by a semi-presidential form of government. The president is the head of the state, and is elected by the popular vote. The parliament consists of two chambers, that is the National Assembly, the lower house, and the Senate, which is the upper house. ZANU-PF has been a dominant political party since the independence, maintaining the control over the government through a combination of electoral victories and sometimes alleged irregularities. Opposition parties such as the Movement for Democratic Change, that is the MDC, has actually emerged as a challenge to ZANU-PF's dominance. But they have faced significant obstacles, including repression and electoral manipulation, and as such. Now, these all factors do pave a way for the post-independence challenges, and Zimbabwe has faced numerous challenges since its independence, including economic instability, hyperinflation, unemployment, and poverty. Land reform policies were initiated in the early 2000s that aimed at addressing historical land inequalities that led to the controversy, economic disruption, and allegations of human rights abuse. The country has also experienced political unrest, protests, and crackdown on dissents. On November 2017, Robert Mugabe was ousted from the power in a military-led intervention, leading to the inauguration of the immersion of Mnangagwa as a president. Now, talking a little bit about the social and the cultural life of the people of Zimbabwe. So, Zimbabwe is the home to various ethnic groups such as the Sohana, Ndebele, and Tonga, which they have their own distinct languages, attires, and customs. For instance, the Sohana people celebration of the traditional ceremonies like their Sohana's wedding, which involves ritual that is passed from generations to generations. There are music genres like Mibara music with a distinctive thumb piano sound, and an energetic dance like the Jerusama dance, which is the integral part of Zimbabwean culture. And there is an example that the mariba is often played during the spiritual ceremonies and social gatherings, connecting people with their cultural roots. Now, the Zimbabwean society is extended to families often live together and support one another. For example, there are many cultures and there are many various ethnic groups that promote joint family living there. And the Zimbabwe, and talking a little bit about the Zimbabwean art and crafts. Zimbabwean artisans have a renowned for their craftsmanship from various forms, such as the stone sculpture, the sculpture, the basket weaving, and there are dance like Dominic Benura cast, which has this intricate stone sculpture depiction scenes from everyday life and traditions of folklore, showcasing the country's rich artistic heritage. Now, education is highly valued in Zimbabwe, and the efforts to promote literacy and access to schooling for all is what we see. Zimbabwe has initiated like Zimbabwe National Family Literacy programs that aim to improve literacy rates by providing educational opportunities for both children and for adults, empowering communities with knowledge and acknowledging skills. Football, that is soccer, is very famous among the Zimbabweans, and there are many teams, and there are African Cups of Nations, which gathers the community and does play a major entertaining role here. Now, talking a little bit about the economy of Zimbabwe, as I said earlier, agriculture is one of the most prominent factors of economy in Zimbabwe, and agriculture has a long and a vital sector in Zimbabwe's economy. Zimbabwe was one known as the breadbasket of Africa due to its abundant agricultural output of maize, tobacco, cotton, and major crops. However, after the land reform policy, such as the fast track land reform program that was initiated in the early 2000s, have led to the disruption of agricultural production. Despite of these challenges, initiatives like the contract farming agreements with the companies have helped some farmers to maintain productivity. Now, Zimbabwe is also rich in mineral resources with significant deposits of gold, platinum, and diamonds and coal. And others, for instance, there is the Mare Range diamonds fields in the eastern Zimbabwe that are along the largest diamonds producing areas globally. And mining sector also contributes significantly to the uh, contribute significantly to the export earnings and the government revenue. However, challenges such as infrastructure deficiency and policies uncertainty have impacted the investments, but it is still very prominent globally for known globally for its diamond production. Now, manufacturing sector also produces a variety of good, including textile, food products, chemicals, beverages. For example, company like Delta Corporation manufacture beverages such as soft drinks and beers, catering to a very high domestic regional market. And Zimbabwe has braved hyperinflation and currency instability in the early 2000s, and hyperinflation has reached to astronomical levels, leading to the adaptation of a multi-currency system, which is the foreign currency like US dollars and South African rand, which is used for transactions. There are foreign investments. Zimbabwe also seeks and attracts a lot of foreign investment to stimulate economic growth and development. For instance, investment opportunities that exist in the sector, such as mining, agriculture, infrastructure, and tourism. However, challenges such as policy has uncertain regularity hurdles, but there are for sure many foreign investments that are in the country, either in and either in the form of investment in mining or agricultural infrastructure. And infrastructural development is crucial for the economic growth and competitiveness. Projects such as the rehabilitation of roads and bridge and dam aims to provide transport network and facilitate trade and investment to the country. There are talking about the international relations. Zimbabwe maintains diplomatic relations with organizations. For instance, Zimbabwe is a member of Southern African Development Community, that is the SADC, and African Union, that is AU, participating and initiatives aim to promote regional integration, trade, and development cooperation. Additionally, Zimbabwe also seeks to strengthen economic development with countries like India, China, Russia through bilateral agreements. Now, coming to the Zimbabwe India relationship. So, there are diplomatic ties where India and Zimbabwe have diplomatic missions in each other's capital, facilitating communication and cooperation between these two countries. Trade between Zimbabwe and India has grown steadily, with both countries seeking to enhance economic development. India exports a range of goods to Zimbabwe, including the pharmaceuticals, machinery, vehicles, and textile, while Zimbabwe export commodities such as tobacco, minerals, and agricultural products to India. There is also a potential increase of investment in sectors such as mining, agriculture, infrastructure, and technology. India has provided development assistance to Zimbabwe in various forms, including grants, loans, and technical assistance. Development cooperation initiatives have focused on areas such as agriculture, healthcare, education, capacity building, and infrastructural development. Now, there are cultural and educational exchanges between Zimbabwe and India. They contribute to people ties and mutual understanding. These exchanges include cultural events, academic collaboration, scholarship, and training programs. India has been involved in the healthcare initiative in Zimbabwe, providing medical assistance, training, and expertise. Indian pharmaceutical companies have also supplied medical healthcare to Zimbabwe. Now, the multilateral cooperation, which is my last point, Zimbabwe and India cooperate within the framework of international organizations and forums, including United Nations, where both the countries advocate for a common interest and collaborate on a global issue such as peacekeeping, climate change, and sustainable development. Um, all in all, India and Zimbabwe does have a very peaceful relationship with each other. And with this, I'll be ending my presentation. And I wish Zimbabwe a very happy Independence Day. And we wish to have such more events like this in the future. And thank you.